is one that's actually really sad and also a bit dangerous. So this is a segment about a plastic surgeon who had his license recently suspended for allegedly, this has not been finalized, but allegedly operating while drunk. And of course, when I saw this, I was like, well, it must be in Florida, but it's not. It's here in Texas. And can't believe it. I know, right? Oh
my gosh.
Usually my Texas peeps are like solid, but so this is out of Houston, Texas.
Okay, I was going to ask what part of Texas.
It was in Houston,
okay.
Yeah, Houston. I don't know this guy. And so the other thing too, I wondered, Brennan, was like, they say plastic surgeon, but was it some, cosmetic, dentist doing plastic surgery? And this guy was like, he is a legitimate plastic surgeon, like the real deal. So it's Dr. Azul Jaffer out of Houston, Texas. And just this past week, the Texas Medical Board came out and suspended his license. And actually have that. I just want to make sure we're all legit here. I want to show this is not just hearsay. Show that one picture. Yeah, this is from the Texas Medical Board, and I'll summarize it. His continuation of practice of medicine poses a threat to public welfare. Ow, that hurts. Due to habitually using drugs and liquor. Man, that's kind of brutal. I saw that. I was like, okay. I thought,
yeah, and hopefully not together. It's a bad combo.
Yeah, that would be a super bad combo.
Yeah.
Well, and I wondered when I first saw this, I was like, okay, there's two things that this could be, right? Because, I've been in medicine now 23 years. God, I've been an MD for 24 years. God, it's hard to believe, but 24 years.
Since as old as I am.
I know. I knew you were going to say that. And
I was born in 2002.
Now I'm going to go jump out this window, Brenna, so thank you. But yeah, so I've been in the biz a long time. And so I've known people over the years who ran into trouble with, drugs, alcohol, physicians. And so usually it's one of two things. There's the one scenario where somebody goes out to dinner, has a couple glasses of wine, they get nobody gets paged anymore, but they get a call. And instead of saying, hey, I can't come in, they go in. And someone realizes they've been drinking and they get hit. And I know people that's happened to. But then there's the other kind of group of people where they actually have like a serious problem. And I guess you could say that, both are a serious problem, but I meant more like they have like an addiction issue. And so I was really wondering which way this was going to go. And when I started looking into it, it definitely seems like it was more the latter of like, this is like a serious problem. So the Texas Medical Board alleges that there were numerous incidents that occurred over the summer of 2025 . And these
that's recent.
Yeah, this just happened. This is all like brand new. Of course, if it turns out that these things are true, who knows how long it really has been going on. I mean, as they say, like the first time you catch somebody doing something is not always the first time they did it right. But the incident included surgeries where Dr. Jaffer allegedly appeared intoxicated while operating, or was allegedly intoxicated prior to surgery, and the facility canceled his cases out of patient welfare. And it wasn't just one time. There was allegedly 7 incidents. At some points, they said he was stumbling, had the smell of alcohol on his breath, and at one point, they followed him into, I guess, the restroom, and there was like a bottle of liquor that was like in the trash or something. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, this all sounds pretty not good.
Yeah, or being the patient and you can like smell it on them.
Yeah, that would.
You're familiar with it.
And I wonder.
It's so scary.
Like I always kind of assumed that if somebody came into like the surgery facility intoxicated and they had to cancel that case, that like everything would stop at that point.
Right.
But allegedly, this has happened multiple times.
Wow.
Even more crazy, Dr. Jaffer was indicted in December on a felony charge of performing surgery while intoxicated. And that was one of those instances of the, I guess, 7 that the Texas Medical Board was talking about. So obviously, this is a really bad thing. I feel bad for the guy, Dr. Jaffer. I feel bad, obviously, for his patients who, potentially were put in harm's way if all this turns out to be true. I mean, obviously, something is really, I think, kind of wrong in his life. If these allegations are true, I mean, I get, being a doctor is a stressful job, and a lot of people like to go home and have a glass of wine or whatever. But I mean, the overwhelming majority of physicians can separate that from their work. And if you're drinking during the day and like knowingly drinking and going on the job, like that is just like a whole nother set of issues.
Definitely.
And so, you know, I mean, this guy's got like a long road ahead of him because he's got this not federal, it's like a state indictment for felony. You know, I guess it's endangerment of patient. I don't know what the actual felony is. I mean, I think there actually is a felony specific to operating while intoxicated, which is kind of odd that there's an actual law for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I never would have thought that would ever
like you
be
normally,
a thing,
yeah,
but,
you
like,
would.
it makes sense.
You would think that it would be like a law of like, okay, don't endanger a patient, and it
Right.
falls under that. But apparently, there is a felony in the state of Texas for operating while intoxicated. So he's going to have to deal with that,
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy bizarre. And the other thing that's going to happen for sure is you're going to start to see patients coming out of the woodwork. Because I mean, I looked this guy up, and he has like good reviews. I mean, you know, he's not like a sketchy dude. I mean, at least on the face. And so what's going to happen is people will start to come out, patients are going to come out of the woodwork and say, oh, well, you know, I had a bad outcome because of this and that and the other, you know, because of these new allegations. And, you know, it's very possible he could, you know, permanently lose his medical license in the state of Texas. I mean, I guess it just depends how deep the rabbit hole goes. And so I thought I would just take a hot minute and talk about, you know, the issue of impaired physicians. I know we've done segments on this in the past, but I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we did them.
New to me.
Yeah, we think we did them, you know, earlier before you came on and joined us. And so, you know, I mean, I can tell you firsthand that being a surgeon is a stressful job. And I would say of all surgical specialties, I feel like mine is not as stressful, or it's at least different. It's more business stressful than patients dying, you know, and things that other surgeons have to deal with. But there definitely is a higher incidence of specifically alcohol abuse with surgeons. And there's a very, very well-known, it was actually a survey that was done, and it was a really big survey, and it basically looked at certain criteria markers for who might have a issue with alcohol. And if you look at the general population at any given one time, there's somewhere between 6 and 11% of the population that meets criteria for, you know, abuse or dependence on alcohol. Well, when you look at surgeons, the numbers are actually much higher. And these are snapshot numbers, which means that the cumulative risk over someone's career might be higher. And that makes sense because, you know, every person in America at times has, you know, troubles in their life or harder things. They may be divorce or the death of a loved one or loss of a job or whatever. And sometimes that makes people turn to other things like alcohol. But again, general population, 6 to 11% for alcohol abuse. For surgeons, this is crazy. And this is pretty wild because they separate it into male and female. Male is 14%. So that's definitely higher than the average. Female was 25%, which is almost,
Wow.
It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy high. And again, this is like a snapshot, so it's not, you know, a study that was done over 20 years or anything. But based on the study, it's around 16% overall for surgeons, which is dramatically higher than the general public.
It makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
stressful
it's
job.
a stressful job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I mean, and there's no excuse for it. And I think that, I mean, I definitely think that
It's a pattern.
there is a pattern there. But I mean, I think that there's definitely should be some differentiation between, you know, the surgeon that goes home and drinks and maybe he's, you know, drinking more than he should for his health, but he's not letting it bleed over into his work where, you know, he or she is going into work drunk. I mean, that is just obviously a huge, huge, enormous problem.
What if they have like a 5 a.m. shift? Like,
That's a
you gotta
great
get
question,
started
right?
early then.
Yeah, that's a great
don't
question. Yeah, I mean, you know, because I mean, let's see, what is it? I think I can remember this. I think that your blood alcohol content drops every hour by, what is it, 0.02 or 0.03?
I think that
Do you know?
sounds about right. I don't know exactly, but
Yeah, I mean, and so, yeah, I mean, I guess you have to think about that. If you start super early, like you can't be drinking until 1 a.m. And we've actually had some segments where we talked about that. There was the one where and I don't remember the specifics because we talk about so many of these crazy stories, but there was the story of the girl who died and she was out partying with her plastic surgeon until like 1 a.m. or something. And I was like, man, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go like drinking late at night when you got to get up at like 5
at a
a.m.
Botox party or something too.
What?
What if it was like at like a Botox party?
No, I think they were out like partying. Like they were like at the nightclub
Yeah,
hanging
I
out.
feel like that could be a thing that could happen at a Botox party.
Oh,
too.
what, people drinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because a lot of the Botox parties, like, I mean, hopefully the injector's not drinking, but
Yeah.
but you know a lot of the people getting the Botox are,
Definitely.
which then brings up other problems. I mean, Botox parties are a little sketchy because of that, because they very commonly do have alcohol and like, you know, I mean, can someone really consent if they're under the influence? I mean, the law says no. I mean, but people do that stuff all the time. I admit I did Botox parties when I was fresh, you know, fresh attending, because you know you're trying to drum up business, and pretty quickly I dumped those. I just didn't like carting the Botox around, and it's like a lot of waiting, and yeah, I quickly got out of that. But yeah, this is a really, really sad story. You know, again, I feel bad for him that he's at a point in his life where it came to this, and definitely feel bad for his patients. You know, at least right now, there's no one claiming that they were injured because of this, but I bet it's coming, you know, and it may or may not be true, because like anytime bad news comes out about doctors like this, then people start filing lawsuits, you know. Because it's an easy way to win, right? I mean, it's like any bad problem that happens to you, it's like, well, it's because the guy was drunk, obviously, and you know that's a very, very powerful, you know, plaintiff statement if it goes to court.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.